don't want the bed down, I've just got a couple of straps here. Just flip up onto there, out of the way. 20 straps, we'll probably hold it up with 2. So at night you can have your curtain shut and you've still got your full seat. If you want your bed in place, what we need to do, before I put that down, this bar is on the floor, goes with the padded section onto the timber, locks under that little knob over there, and slides in. There'll be a locating hole just in on this rail there. I'll pull that out again. You see that hole there? Maybe? That hole there. So that's where that pin goes into. Once you've got that in place, it just folds over. That has to fold out. That's going to stop your mattress sliding out. And then putting your mattress down in place. And that will be strong enough to easily sit on. And you've got your full double bed there. Or if you ever want to turn this into a bed, this just folds up, folds down out of the wall. That's pretty straightforward, that one, and the cushions go in the spot in the middle. If you've got water connected to the back, which I'll show you in a minute, the blue tap will just operate as pressurized water, and that's designed to fold down for when the van's folded up. If you've got water in the tank, it'll be this white one, it'll pump up. We usually don't keep any water in the tank because we don't want the excess weight with that. So working around from there, we also have a drawer in here. We've got a basket that normally goes in there. I'll make sure I put that in. So to get to the bottom of that, you need to be outside the van, looking in underneath to get to that, but that's stuff we hardly ever use. Down under the second seat, we've got what we call the TV drawer, because we've got a TV in it at the moment. That was purpose built to fit that TV, but all sorts of other things in there, plenty of space. That's not attached to anything, it's just on wheels, but when you push it in, it should actually clip in position and it should stay there. In the bag here, we've got all your plumbing fittings, hose, and a couple of hoses, solids pipe throughout the back. I'll show you that in a minute. The fridge has a lock on here. You need to lock that when you're traveling. So pretty straightforward with the fridge. It does give you the option of electric, as in 240 volt, battery and gas, and we have run it very well on gas. The 12 volt has been cut off when I renovated. I took the 12 volt out because there's basically nothing in here that's 12 volts at all. What we tend to do is to run an inverter off the car and run everything off 240 volt. So that bed up there is pretty straightforward. Your stove, just a little locking mechanism on the right to lock the stove in. Has a grill underneath. You'll need a long blower to get that to light. First time you light it after the gas is on, you'll need to run it for about a minute before they will actually light, but they work pretty well, those. Little note there that says you have to have this open when you're running the gas. And directly above that, we've got the skylight, just a normal skylight. It's worthwhile having the skylight open when you're running the gas. Otherwise the smoke detector goes off. If it does, there's a little button on there you can press, it'll turn it off, so mute it. So that's pretty straightforward. To the left of that, we've got our little cup container. It was designed to fit in these bottles of oil, so, and only those bottles of oil. So if you want to carry that kind of stuff, that's an awesome little cupboard in there. So down the bottom here, we've got the toilet. Just simply a matter of opening the front door, and because we've got this mat here, we prefer it so that it doesn't scratch the floor. Just lift it over the little mat and pull it out to about there. Don't know if you've ever used a porta potty before, but you've got a water tank on that side, and it's a good idea to put some chemical in the water tank, and that's just your pump on the other side. So if I just squeeze that, you'll see that that's flushing. What you'll usually do, you won't flush it, you might flush it before and after because it'll actually work better, but you'll open this bottom little latch here, which opens it right through into the silage. Because it's open to the raw sewage, then you put a chemical in the bottom as well. So you've got a blue decomposing chemical in the bottom and a pink or green one in the top. So those two, and pretty much this should if you're using those two chemicals, it should never smell. If it's smelling, there's something wrong with the chemicals. So on the little front there, you've got a dial, tells you when it's full, when it's empty. So at the moment it's nearly empty. It will turn red as it fills up, and I'll show you later on from the outside how we empty that out. So once we've got the tops up, we can now connect this bottom in to tighten all this up. So just a matter of connecting the elastics through. Make sure you pull this right down over the corners to get it weatherproof. And hook the elastics up. Some of them, the little spots have kind of come off, little black dots. But if you pull that nice and tight, all the way right through, oops, that's not very good. If you do that, when you're in the bed, you can actually lean against this and it won't fall out. So both ends of those need to be tight to be finished. If you're doing the fly ends, you would have undone them whilst it was still down. They require 3 poles that have to be set to height, and each pole has 1 or 2 guys, depending on how windy it is, and that will sit out well beyond the end of this and it waterproofs each end. And it's also got a little privacy screen. It has a little bit of elastic on the corner that you can hook back down onto these to hold that privacy screen tight.